What if Bumblebee was supposed to be a Volkswagen? What if the most iconic Camaro in cinema history was a junkyard reject nobody wanted? What if Michael Bay destroyed the original? This isn't just yellow paint and racing stripes, it's a machine built from rust, controversy, and studio panic. The 1977 Chevrolet Camaro that became Bumblebee hides secrets that'll shock even hardcore Transformers fans. Number 20. The original Bumblebee was supposed to be a Volkswagen Beetle. Here's something that'll rewrite everything you thought you knew about Transformers. In the original 1980s cartoon series and toy line, Bumblebee wasn't a Camaro at all. He transformed into a classic Volkswagen Beetle, maintaining that form for over 2 decades of Transformers history. When Michael Bay signed on to direct the 2006 live-action film, Hasbro and Paramount initially planned to keep Bumblebee as a Beetle, staying faithful to the beloved character design.
All right, it's been a while since you've seen Bee, and today we got it in the shop.
But Volkswagen refused to participate in the movie. The German automaker didn't want their brand associated with war, violence, or military imagery, which formed the core of Transformers' storyline. This corporate decision forced Bay and his team into emergency casting mode. They needed an affordable, recognizable American car that screamed underdog appeal while still looking tough enough for an alien war. Enter the 1977 Camaro, a muscle car era classic that perfectly embodied blue-collar American grit. Number 19. They found the hero car, rotting in a New Jersey junkyard. The Camaro that would become Hollywood's most famous robot wasn't discovered in some pristine collection or classic car showroom. Picture designer Andrew Kim literally found it decomposing in a Paterson, New Jersey junkyard in 2005, surrounded by rusted-out Chevelles and stripped Firebirds. The car was in catastrophic condition. The original Rally Sport package paint had faded to a sickly yellow-brown. The interior was completely gutted with exposed springs poking through torn vinyl. The engine was seized solid, and both quarter panels were eaten through with rust holes the size of dinner plates. Kim almost walked past it 3 times before noticing the distinctive split bumper design.
In their original animated series, as a small but brave, wise...
The junkyard owner wanted just $800 for it, calling it worthless scrap metal destined for the crusher within weeks. Paramount's transportation coordinator authorized the purchase immediately, recognizing the second-generation body style's potential. They loaded it onto a flatbed trailer that same afternoon. The transformation from junkyard wreck to movie star would cost over $60,000 in restoration work, but that original $800 investment became the foundation for a multi-billion-dollar franchise character. Number 18. Michael Bay personally destroyed 7 identical Camaros during production.
It just exploded, like when the air got to it, so it wafted, like woof.
Bay's infamous practical effects obsession meant actual metal had to crumple, burn, and explode on camera. Paramount's transportation department built 13 identical 1977 Camaros specifically for the first Transformers film, each costing between $45,000 and $65,000, depending on their purpose. 7 of these beautiful machines were completely annihilated during the 5-month shoot. 3 were rigged with explosive charges for the Sector 7 chase sequence, their frames literally sheared apart by controlled detonations.
Oh my God! Water!
2 were crashed into concrete barriers at 40 miles per hour for the neighborhood chase scenes, crumpling their distinctive front ends beyond repair. 1 was deliberately burned for 37 minutes to achieve the scorched look Bay wanted for the final battle sequence, melting the interior completely and warping the body panels. The most brutal destruction involved the missile strike scene, where Bay insisted on dropping actual debris onto a Camaro from a crane rather than using miniatures or CGI. The falling rubble destroyed the roof, shattered every window, and bent the chassis permanently. Number 17. The famous yellow paint was actually declared illegal in California. The vibrant yellow that made Bumblebee instantly recognizable wasn't a standard General Motors color from 1977. Custom painter Steve Gibbs created a unique mixture he called plasma yellow, combining modern pearl pigments with metallic flake that didn't exist in the 70s. California's Air Resources Board classified this custom paint formula as non-compliant with VOC emissions regulations in 2006, meaning it couldn't legally be sprayed in any California paint booth. Paramount faced a massive problem since all vehicle work was scheduled at Universal Studios in Los Angeles. The The production team found a loophole by shipping all 13 Camaros to a specialty shop in Henderson, Nevada, just outside Las Vegas, where regulations were less restrictive. Each car required 3 complete coats to achieve the depth Bay wanted on camera, with Gibbs personally supervising every application. The paint job alone cost $6,000 per vehicle, totaling $78,000 across the fleet. The irony? That illegal paint became so iconic that General Motors later developed an official Transformers Rally Yellow for production Camaros starting in 2009, reformulating it to meet modern emission standards while trying to capture that same plasma glow. Number 16. Shia LaBeouf destroyed 3 transmissions because he couldn't drive manual.
Oh, see, no, that doesn't work. See?
Hollywood's dirty secret about the first Transformers film? Its young star had absolutely no idea how to operate a stick shift. LaBeouf had only driven automatic transmission vehicles his entire life before landing the role of Sam Witwicky. The Hero Camaros were all equipped with original 4-speed manual transmissions, requiring constant clutch work and precise shifting. Bay insisted on practical driving shots, rather than towing the car on a trailer for interior scenes, demanding LaBeouf actually pilot Bumblebee through city streets. During the first 2 weeks of driving scenes, LaBeouf burned through 3 separate clutches by riding them constantly, ground the gears so badly that metal shavings contaminated the transmission fluid, and stalled the engine 47 times during a single afternoon shoot in downtown Los Angeles. Paramount hired a professional stunt driving instructor who spent 6 12-hour days teaching LaBeouf manual transmission basics in a junkyard practice car. Even after this crash course, LaBeouf never felt comfortable with the stick shift. For close-up interior shots showing his hands on the shifter, they used a stunt driver's arms filmed separately and edited in post-production, saving the remaining transmissions from complete destruction. Number 15. General Motors paid absolutely nothing for the product placement.
I mean, their support is staggering. We can use any facility we've used there.
You'd think featuring Chevrolet so prominently would cost GM millions in product placement fees, right? Wrong. General Motors didn't pay Paramount a single dollar to make the Camaro Bumblebee's vehicle form. In fact, it worked completely opposite. Paramount approached GM in 2005, offering the Camaro role after Volkswagen's rejection. GM was actually hesitant initially because the second-generation Camaro represented their past rather than their future lineup. The 1977 model had been out of production for over 2 decades. GM's marketing team argued that featuring an old Camaro might remind consumers they'd discontinued the nameplate entirely after 2002. But one executive named Cheryl Pilcher recognized the opportunity. She convinced GM's board that the film's planned 2010 Camaro reveal could revive the entire brand if handled correctly. GM agreed on one condition. They would provide technical support, modern Camaros for later scenes, and engineering consultants. But Paramount would pay for everything else. This $0 deal generated over $3 billion in Camaro sales by 2012, making it history's most profitable product placement that never technically was won. Number 14. The original engine was replaced with a modern LS3 because it kept exploding.
LS3 engine so that you can make better decisions. As the standard engine,
Authenticity nearly killed this production multiple times. The picture cars initially featured rebuilt 250 cubic inch inline-6 engines, the base power plant offered in 1977 Camaros. These engines were 40 years old even after complete restoration, and Bay's demanding shooting schedule pushed them beyond their limits. During the first 3 weeks of principal photography, the engines catastrophically failed 11 times. One engine threw a connecting rod through the block during a simple driving scene in Burbank, spraying oil across an entire intersection and halting filming for 6 hours. Another seized completely on the Hoover Dam location, stranding the car in 112-degree desert heat while the crew waited for a replacement. Bay finally demanded solutions after the third engine explosion delayed shooting 2 consecutive days. GM's performance division offered a controversial fix: install modern LS3 engines from 2008 Corvettes. These fuel-injected power plants produced 430 horsepower compared to the original 110, but they were bulletproof reliable. The swap required cutting the firewall, fabricating custom motor mounts, and hiding modern wiring harnesses, costing $22,000 per car. Purists absolutely hated this decision, but it saved the production schedule. Every remaining Hero car received this transplant within 72 hours. Number 13. Steven Spielberg hated the Camaro choice and fought for a Mustang instead. Here's a battle that almost changed franchise history. Spielberg served as executive producer on Transformers, wielding enormous creative influence over major decisions. When Bay presented the 1977 Camaro as Bumblebee's vehicle form, Spielberg immediately objected during a February 2005 production meeting at DreamWorks. He argued passionately that a Ford Mustang better represented American automotive heritage and underdog appeal. Spielberg specifically wanted a 1967 Mustang Fastback, believing its iconic silhouette would resonate more powerfully with international audiences unfamiliar with Transformers lore. He commissioned concept art showing Bumblebee as a blue Mustang with white racing stripes, even arranging a meeting with Ford executives to discuss partnership possibilities. Bay refused to budge, defending the Camaro on 3 grounds: Chevrolet's willingness to provide future concept cars, the Camaro's discontinued status creating underdog narrative, and his personal childhood connection to second-generation Camaros. The disagreement escalated into heated arguments over 2 months. Ultimately, Spielberg conceded when test audiences responded overwhelmingly positively to early Camaro footage during focus groups in April 2005. He later admitted in interviews that Bay's instincts were correct, though he still believed the Mustang would have worked beautifully. Number 12. The radio actually worked, and they recorded real vintage broadcasts for it.
So you talk through the radio? Actually, you're wonderful, you're wonderful.
Bumblebee's defining character trait involves communicating through radio snippets, but most viewers assume this was pure post-production audio magic. Not entirely true. Sound designer Ethan van der Ryn insisted on installing fully functional 1970s-era AM/FM radios in 3 hero cars, wanting authentic dashboard glow and speaker crackle for close-up shots. Van der Ryn's team spent 8 weeks recording hundreds of hours of vintage radio broadcasts, commercials, and music from 1977 through 1984, sourcing material from Library of Congress archives and private collectors. They recreated period-accurate DJ patter, news bulletins about Jimmy Carter, and era-specific advertisement jingles. During filming, they would broadcast these recordings on low-power FM transmitters, allowing the car's actual radio to receive them practically on set. This meant, when LaBeouf reacted to Bumblebee's communication, he genuinely heard the audio coming from the dashboard in real time, rather than imagining it for ADR later. Bay loved this practical approach so much that roughly 40% of Bumblebee's radio dialogue in the final film came from these live on-set broadcasts, rather than studio sweetening. The working radio added production time, but created authentic performances impossible to achieve otherwise. Number 11. Insurance companies refused to cover the cars until Paramount created a fake shell corporation.
More specifically, we're going to be talking about how much I paid as an 18-year-old.
Getting insurance for 13 custom-built movie cars worth nearly $1 million combined became a bureaucratic nightmare. Traditional Hollywood vehicle insurers like Fireman's Fund and AIG refused coverage after reviewing the production plans in March 2006. Their risk assessment teams identified too many red flags: extensive pyrotechnics near vehicles, high-speed urban driving without closed sets, and Michael Bay's documented history of destroying practical effects. Underwriters calculated that catastrophic loss probability exceeded 70%, making the policy mathematically unprofitable at any premium. Paramount's production accountants faced a crisis since California law required proof of insurance before issuing filming permits for public roads. Their solution involved creative corporate restructuring. They established a Nevada-based limited liability company called Cybertron Automotive Holdings, technically separating the vehicles from Paramount's direct ownership. This shell corporation then purchased a specialty collector car policy from a small Las Vegas insurer who didn't fully understand the car's intended use. The monthly premiums cost $18,000, nearly double typical rates, but the policy covered replacement value rather than actual cash value. When 7 cars were ultimately destroyed, the insurance company tried fighting the claims, arguing commercial film use violated their collector car policy terms. Paramount's lawyers buried them in litigation for 3 years before reaching a confidential settlement reportedly worth $400,000. Number 10. The black racing stripes were vinyl decals that melted during desert shoots. Those iconic black racing stripes running across Bumblebee's hood and roof weren't paint, as most fans assume. Graphics designer Mike Murnany created them as precision-cut vinyl decals because painted stripes couldn't achieve the razor-sharp edges Bay demanded for high-definition cameras. The vinyl worked beautifully during Los Angeles filming, where temperatures stayed reasonable. Then production moved to the Mojave Desert for Hoover Dam sequences in June 2006. Desert surface temperatures exceeded 130 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to literally melt the adhesive backing on the vinyl stripes. Within 2 hours of the first desert shoot day, the stripes began bubbling, peeling at the edges and distorting their perfect lines. One stripe, completely detached mid-scene, flapping in the wind before flying off entirely, ruining an expensive action shot. The crew tried everything: heat-resistant adhesives, ceramic coating over the vinyl, even briefly considering real paint before dismissing it as too time-consuming. Eventually, a specialty vinyl manufacturer in Arizona created custom high-temperature decals using adhesive originally developed for military aircraft markings. These survived the desert heat but cost 3 times more than standard vinyl. Every car required complete stripe replacement after desert filming, adding another $12,000 to the ever-growing budget overruns that plagued this production. Number 9. Megan Fox accidentally broke the windshield with her elbow during the highway scene.
It squirts the fuel in so you can go faster.
Oh. I like to go faster.
It looks like you're just...
Practical filming creates unexpected disasters, and Fox provided one of the most expensive. During the highway chase sequence where Sam and Michaela flee from Decepticon attacks, Fox performed her own stunts inside the moving Camaro despite studio safety concerns. The scene required her to duck dramatically as simulated weapons fire passed overhead, a movement rehearsed 20 times with a stationary vehicle. When cameras rolled on the actual highway with the car traveling 45 miles per hour, Fox's adrenaline took over. She threw herself down with far more force than practiced, slamming her right elbow directly into the passenger side windshield. The safety glass spiderwebbed instantly, obscuring camera angles and destroying the shot completely. Bay screamed, "Cut!" so loudly that crew members 300 yards away heard him clearly. The damaged windshield required immediate replacement, but finding period-correct glass for a 1977 Camaro on location proved impossible. Production halted for 7 hours, while a specialty auto glass shop in Riverside fabricated and installed a new windshield, costing $4,000 in parts and labor plus roughly $30,000 in lost shooting time. Fox apologized profusely, but Bay actually loved her commitment, using the incident to praise her intensity in press interviews. The broken windshield remains stored at Universal Studios as a production memento. Number 8. The interior upholstery cost more than the original car because of a bizarre union rule.
The first step is to strip out the existing interior. It's hard to believe that this car is nearly 40 years old until I yanked out the seats and found...
Restoring the gutted interior presented unexpected complications beyond simple aesthetics. Paramount's transportation department initially planned basic black vinyl seats and door panels matching 1977 factory specifications. Then the Teamsters Union intervened with obscure contract language nobody anticipated: Hollywood's Teamsters. Local 399 maintained jurisdiction over all vehicle-related work, including interior restoration, under their 2004 master agreement with studios. Their contract specified that any specialty automotive work performed for on-camera vehicles required union-certified craftsmen earning full Hollywood rates rather than standard auto shop wages. This meant traditional upholstery shops couldn't touch the Camaros legally. Paramount had to hire union set decorators charging $115 per hour instead of upholsterers charging $35. Each car's interior required approximately 80 hours of work, removing old materials, fabricating seat frames, installing period-correct vinyl, carpeting floors, rebuilding door panels, and restoring dashboards. Simple math revealed the disaster. 80 hours times $115 equals $9,200 per car, times 13 cars equals $119,600 total. The original junkyard Camaro cost $800. The interior work alone cost nearly $120,000. Paramount challenged the union rule through arbitration but lost, establishing precedent that still affects vehicle-heavy productions today. Number 7. The exhaust sound you hear isn't from the Camaro, but from a 1969 Charger. Hollywood's dirtiest audio secret involves exhaust note manipulation, and Bumblebee exemplifies this perfectly. Sound designer Eric Oddall faced a problem during post-production. The LS3 Corvette engines installed in the Hero cars produced a distinctive modern exhaust note. high-pitched, and refined compared to classic muscle car rumble. Bay wanted aggressive, throaty American V8 sound that screamed 1970s muscle car attitude. Recording the actual Camaros disappointed everyone during audio sessions at Skywalker Sound. The modern engines sounded too clean, too sophisticated, lacking the raw mechanical aggression Bay envisioned for Bumblebee's character. Idaho's team experimented with 50 different vehicles before finding their answer. A 1969 Dodge Charger RT with a 440 cubic inch Magnum engine and custom Flowmaster exhaust. This Charger produced the perfect growling, popping, crackling exhaust note that became Bumblebee's signature sound. They recorded over 6 hours of Charger audio at various RPMs, throttle positions, and driving conditions at a private racetrack in Sonoma. Every single scene featuring Bumblebee's engine uses this Charger audio, not the actual Camaro. Automotive purists who caught this discrepancy complained online, but test audiences who didn't notice rated Bumblebee's presence significantly higher with the Charger sound, proving audio deception sometimes serves storytelling better than authenticity. Number 6. ILM spent $4 million just rendering Bumblebee's transformation because of the chrome bumpers. Industrial Light and Magic's animation team discovered that Bumblebee's 1977 body style created unprecedented rendering challenges. The chrome front and rear bumpers, beautiful aesthetic choices in reality, became computational nightmares in CGI. Chrome surfaces require ray tracing calculations exponentially more complex than standard painted surfaces because they reflect everything around them with mirror-like accuracy. Every transformation scene needed the bumpers to accurately reflect surrounding environment, other characters, light sources, and themselves bending during the transformation sequence. ILM's render farm, already one of the world's most powerful computing clusters, struggled with these calculations. A single frame showing Bumblebee mid-transformation required an average of 19 hours of processing time across multiple servers. The complete transformation sequence from the first film totals approximately 12 seconds of screen time, equaling 288 frames at 24 frames per second. Simple math reveals the horror. 288 frames times 19 hours equals 5,472 computer processing hours for one 12-second sequence. At ILM's internal render farm cost of $735 per processing hour, this single sequence cost over $4 million in computation alone, not including animator salaries, electricity, or facility overhead. Bay initially wanted more transformation shots, but abandoned plans after seeing these cost projections, making Bumblebee's transformations deliberately rare throughout the film. Number 5. The original script. Had Bumblebee speaking normally until test audiences hated it.
Are you username LadiesMan217?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you username LadiesMan217?
Yeah.
Where is the even?
Bay's first cut featured Bumblebee with a fully functional voice speaking complete sentences like other Autobots. Voice actor Mark Ryan recorded 47 minutes of dialogue for Bumblebee during initial ADR sessions in late 2006, giving him a gentle British accent contrasting Optimus Prime's commanding American tone. Early test screenings in January 2007 revealed audience rejection. Focus groups consistently rated Bumblebee's speaking voice as annoying, describing it as too human and eliminating his mysterious appeal.
Is that why you're always messing with the dial? You're trying to take...
Teenagers particularly disliked hearing him talk normally, feeling it diminished his cool factor. Bay panicked with only months before the June premiere. Sound supervisor Ethan van der Reen suggested the radio communication concept during an emergency creative meeting, proposing Bumblebee use song snippets and broadcasts instead. They had 3 weeks to re-edit every Bumblebee scene, removing Ryan's dialogue and replacing it with carefully selected radio clips. This last-minute change required recutting over 30 scenes and cost an additional $200,000 in post-production work. Mark Ryan received full payment despite his voice being completely removed. The radio gimmick became Bumblebee's most beloved characteristic, proving sometimes production disasters create accidental genius. Number 4. General Motors secretly built a running 2010 Camaro.
This is Jagger Wolf and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be having an overview of the 2010 Camaro SS Bumblebee edition.
Concept 2 years early, just for this film. The sleek yellow Camaro that Bumblebee transforms into near the film's end wasn't just a concept vehicle. GM's design team began secretly developing the 5th generation Camaro revival in 2004, but public announcement wasn't planned until 2008. When Paramount approached about featuring a modern Camaro, GM saw massive marketing potential. They accelerated their timeline dramatically, building 3 fully functional 2010 Camaro prototypes in early 2006, 2 full years before intended reveal. These weren't just shells for filming.
Respect, usually because it doesn't deserve it. So when GM invited us to its proving grounds to drive the V6 version of the new...
Engineers installed complete drivetrains, working suspensions, and functional interiors, essentially creating production-ready vehicles years early. The prototypes cost GM approximately $3 million combined, representing enormous financial risk if the film flopped. They filmed the transformation scene in November 2006 at an abandoned GM factory in Detroit, maintaining absolute secrecy. Security guards confiscated cameras from crew members, and NDAS threatened million-dollar penalties for leaks. The gamble paid off spectacularly. When audiences saw the modern Camaro reveal in July 2007, GM received 42,000 pre-orders within 72 hours, despite the car not officially entering production until spring 2009, creating unprecedented demand. Number 3. The hero car was stolen from the Paramount lot and recovered in Mexico 3 months later.
Once the dealership in Enid confirmed that these Camaros were stolen from their lot, they contacted OnStar. OnStar was able to...
Hollywood's most embarrassing security failure happened in August 2007, weeks after Transformers' theatrical release made Bumblebee internationally famous. Someone breached Paramount's supposedly secure vehicle storage facility at 3 a.m. using bolt cutters on a chain-link fence. They loaded the primary hero Camaro, the most screen-used vehicle, onto a flatbed trailer and vanished. Paramount filed police reports but avoided press coverage, fearing embarrassment and copycat thefts. The FBI investigated but found 0 leads for 11 weeks. In November 2007, Mexican authorities discovered the Camaro in a Tijuana warehouse during an unrelated drug raid. Thieves had planned selling it to a private collector for $250,000, but couldn't find buyers willing to risk possession of stolen Hollywood property. The car survived mostly intact, though someone had removed the custom steering wheel and radio as souvenirs. Paramount spent $60,000 on restoration and transport. They never publicly acknowledged the theft until a transportation coordinator mentioned it during a 2012 DVD commentary. Paramount upgraded security massively afterward, installing GPS trackers in all hero vehicles for future productions, making the Bumblebee theft the catalyst for industry-wide changes. Number 2. One hero car sold at auction for 3 times more than an original Shelby Cobra.
Then by being able to auction off a car here at Barrett-Jackson with 100% of the proceeds going to the breed.
Barrett-Jackson auctioned one of the 3 surviving hero Camaros in January 2015 at their Scottsdale event. Pre-auction estimates predicted $200,000 to $300,000 maximum, reasonable for a well-documented movie car. Bidding opened at $50,000 and immediately exploded. Collectors from 17 countries participated via phone and internet, driving prices into insane territory. The hammer finally dropped at $1,150,000, absolutely shattering expectations and setting records for any movie vehicle not driven by James Bond or Steve McQueen. For perspective, a 1965 Shelby Cobra sold the same day for only $380,000, meaning Bumblebee commanded 3 times the value of one of history's most collectible sports cars. The buyer, a Dubai businessman whose identity remains confidential, reportedly never watched Transformers, but recognized the Camaro's cultural significance. Barrett-Jackson's CEO called it the most surprising result in company history. The sale validated something Hollywood already understood. Bumblebee transcended typical movie memorabilia, becoming genuine automotive history despite its humble junkyard origins decades earlier. Number 1. Chevrolet credits Bumblebee with saving the Camaro from permanent extinction. General Motors officially discontinued Camaro production in 2002 after 35 years, declaring the model financially unviable in an SUV-dominated market. Internal documents reveal GM had zero plans for revival, considering the nameplate permanently retired like Pontiac or Oldsmobile. Then Transformers released in July 2007. Dealers immediately reported customer inquiries about buying the Bumblebee car, despite no new Camaros existing. These inquiries became floods, then tsunamis. GM's customer service lines received over 15,000 calls weekly asking about Camaro availability. Chevrolet's general manager Ed Pepper later stated in interviews that Transformers single-handedly revived a dead brand by creating demand GM never anticipated. The 2010 Camaro launched to 42,000 pre-orders, becoming Chevrolet's fastest-selling vehicle in 2 decades. By 2012, Camaro outsold Mustang for the first time since 1985. Through 2024, over 2 million 5th and 6th generation Camaros sold worldwide, generating estimated revenue exceeding $30 billion. Without Bumblebee, the Camaro nameplate would be forgotten history like Plymouth Barracuda. One junkyard reject literally saved an American icon. So there you have it. 20 weird facts proving Bumblebee's journey from $800 scrap metal to billion-dollar icon involved more chaos, controversy, and crazy decisions than anyone imagined. Which fact shocked you most? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe, and remember, every legend starts as someone's junkyard reject.